Well, you know what? Just like buses, you wait for one and then two, three, four come along at once. That seems to be very much the story of Rangers transfer window as we approach the end of it. As we brought you news here yesterday on the channel, it looks like the Oscar Cortes deal is very much on its way to being completed. It looks like Sifu is on his way out, maybe not to Turkey, maybe to Brazil. And it does look very much like Hefte, I think that's the new pronunciation that we're going for, is on his way too. But could that move break down? That's the question. We're going to talk about that on the video this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening. We're also going to talk about the upcoming fixtures. February is a very busy time for the club. Obviously, it's very unusual that this week we have but the two games, the 12:30 against St Mirren, and then obviously a big long layoff before we meet Livingston at Ibrox, 3 p.m. Saturday. No midweek game, which is very unusual for the club. Guys, just a quick shout out before we carry on with this morning, this afternoon, this evening's podcast, video, whatever you want to call it. Guys, you might remember that we had Damian Henry on the podcast not so long back. Damian obviously sang the famous RFC and Four Lads Had a Dream on the Matchday Mix. You hear him singing at Ibrox all the time. You might not realise it, but yes, that Four Lads Had a Dream. Yes, that famous RFC is sung by a guy called Damian Henry. Check out, guys, his band, his Sleep Image. They played live at the Record Factory on the 25th of January. He's got a 28-minute, half-an-hour video online on YouTube. Check it out. The description, the link to that is in the description to this video. There we go, singing the famous RFC. So check out Damian. Give it the video a like. Give the video a share. Let's get behind Damian. He is a massive Rangers fan. You've seen him on the podcast, and he is obviously going to be here on Thursday as well for the transfer window special. So check that out, guys. Check it out for me and give him a big boost. Well, look, the news that we're going to sign Oscar Cortes is excellent news. It does depend, obviously, on the medical and obviously international clearance being met. Now, I've been doing some bit more digging into this kid. And, as I said on the video yesterday, he is a kid who's come from, really humble background, a really poverty-stricken background. You've got to respect someone like him who's, it could have easily, joined a gang or got involved in with the wrong people, growing up in Colombia. That was the options for him in the village that he was growing up in, but he didn't. He turned to football. He worked hard. He worked his way out of the ghetto, and now he's having this successful career where he comes to play for one of the biggest clubs in world football, in Rangers FC. Now, another thing about Oscar Cortes apparently is not only were Rangers looking at him. According to a number of reports coming out of France and obviously as well his native Colombia, a number of English Premier League teams were also looking at him as well and saw him as a very young, promising winger that could do a job in the EPL. So I think it's a real coup for Rangers that we've secured Cortes. He does seem, like I said, to be a talent. And there's just something, isn't there, about having another Colombian at Ibrox. Yes, I know he divides opinion. Yes, I know that near the end of his career, he was not the same as he was at the start of his time at Rangers. But look, we all remember Alfie. We all remember what Alfie brought to the team. And I've got to hope that Oscar Cortes certainly hasn't got Alfie's temperament. I'd rather he didn't get sent off. But look, it's kind of, I don't know, kind of traditional, isn't it? Kind of destined that we have this Colombian, this Alfie 2.0, but obviously a different position and obviously hopefully not with the same temperament as Alfie. Another obviously reassuring thing about Oscar Cortes is this guy is an out-and-out winger. Yes, he can play as an attacking midfielder. Yes, he can play in that 10 role, but his preferred role is as an out-and-out winger. He can play wide right and come onto his left foot. He can play wide left and go with both feet. He is that talented. And also the fact that not only that, but he's a player who is, has been listed amongst some of the best young and up-and-coming talents coming out of South America. So, again, it is a real coup for Niels Koppen and Philippe Clement to have secured this guy. And it does show that graphic that we shared with you at the start of the week about the fact that Rangers are changing their scouting networks. They are changing where they are looking for players. Scandinavia, looking at Austria, looking at Poland, looking at Croatia, looking at South America. All markets that, where you can find a player that is not going to cost you the earth. The problem with buying players from Britain, the British players, maybe obviously, going south of the border to shop or going to La Liga or to Bundesliga or to Serie A, is you're talking big money to secure players. And, we've seemingly gone beyond that now, haven't we? He used to be good and we can get him back to being good, or, when he's fit, he's all right. And when he's fit, he's good. which has sort of kind of dogged us over recent years. It does seem there is a real move by the club to get away from that horrific attitude and really bring in young, fresh talent. Now, I get what people are saying. Look, and I've said this a number of times. I just want to kind of reassure people. Look, I think the model will work as long as it's applied consistently. You know, you've got to, flexibly. You've got to have a model that, yes, you bring in young players. Yes, you bring in young players to be developed. But at the same time, you don't just bring in young players. If you just sign young players, you don't win anything. You don't get promoted. You don't, if you, in the case of some teams, you know, and that doesn't apply to Rangers, you don't win cups. You have a lack of experience, which can really cost you. And at times, you need experienced heads on the field to draw the team together or to knock heads together and say, right, come on, we need to focus. Yes, we need to do this. No, we don't do that again. Come on, boys, let's pull this together. Come on, boys, let's push forward. That's what you need. And I think, you know, at this moment in time, we have a number of experienced heads already on this team. Obviously, Tav, Goldson, we have Jack Butland, John Lundstrom. You know, these are all guys who are regularly starting for the first team, regularly playing, and are all very experienced heads. So, look, these are guys who are already here now. I think, you know, come down the future. And Philippe Clement has said this himself. You know, he's talked about the fact that when you're buying players, you have to think and consider, is this a saleable asset for the future? Or is this someone for the next 6 months or for the next year? That's what we're thinking about. And Clement, I think, has made it clear that this model will be applied flexibly. It is not going to be just a case of buying kids or buying young players. Yes, Oscar Cortes is a young player. Yes, Hefte is a young player. Yes, Diamande is. But like I said, we are currently in a position where we have an awful lot of young players. Experienced players already on this squad, and we do need to lower the average age. Ryan Jack, also experienced player. There is a number of players that can get their arms around these younger boys and help to develop them and bring them on. All very positive for the future. You know, one personally speaking, I'm sitting here and I was actually, I was out walking the dog earlier and I was actually thinking about the situation we find ourselves in, and I've got a real positivity about the future, a real, kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, a real, kind of vision that this club is finally moving in the right direction. This club is finally moving into the 21st century. You know, we have a modern scouting system now. We have a data-driven, analysis-driven system. Yes, there is still part of it that is going to watch live games, as Coppen himself said. Yes, there is still part of it that is watching videos, watching the player play, watching the player train. But that data analysis is now involved in that. That AI-driven analysis that is there is part of this system. It is not solely down to humans who can make errors, as we've seen with Michael Beale's awful business in the last transfer window. There is a real vision for this team moving forward. And for me, it's finding a time where we're seemingly, moving in the direction of copying teams like PSV Eindhoven, like Feyenoord, like Ajax. And I don't agree with Simon Jordan on many things. I think he speaks a lot of rubbish at times. But one thing I do agree with him is when he talks about the fact that Rangers should be looking at those Dutch teams, those three Dutch teams that are the dominant forces in Dutch football. You know, the Eredivisie is a similar league to Scotland. There is a three-team dominance there rather than just a two-team dominant. There is, a real power there amongst Ajax, Feyenoord, and PSV. Their turnovers are not vastly different to our potential turnovers. Their TV deals are not particularly great, but they are teams that generate income. There are teams that live a lot by generating talent, not only through their youth systems, but also through going out, finding young players, developing them, bringing them on and selling them on for big profits. Ajax have done that for years. PSV Eindhoven have done that, were starting to do that when Coppen was there as director of scouting, bringing in players like Noah Lang, like Sabari, like Bakayoko. These are quality players that are going to be flipped for a lot of money. This is a system that we need to look at and how we do things. Zeb Jacobs, Zurab Almiron coming into the youth setup, developing the youth academy, and I was so impressed with what Zeb Jacobs was talking about the other day about individual programs, about individual training, about looking not just at the tactics on the field and breaking those down and looking at what the elements are that we need to be successful, but looking also at the fitness elements, the training elements, other personal goals for players. It's really a modern system that has been inputted here. And I think the better we are with developing young players, bringing young players through, again, like PSV, again, like Feyenoord, like Ajax, these are the teams we need to be looking at and developing ourselves into that sort of model. And for me, that is exceptionally positive. There's obviously this transfer window has a few days left to run now. We're on to the 30th of January, so not long to go. The transfer window closes on the 1st of February, and guys, we will bring you that epic pod from 9 till around about midnight myself, and I will be joined at some point during the night by the fantastic Laura Hatton and the brilliantly talented Damian Henry as well. Also, we've got the podcast tonight with myself. Hopefully, Scotty Mackay is coming on. Curry, the legend, is on. And obviously as well, Andrew from the Ibrox channel as well, some of you are aware of. So guys, come and join us for that pod. Now, one reported bid that has been rejected by Rangers is a bid for Ridvan Yilmaz. Now, this is where the Hefte deal for me, I think, could hang in the balance. Now, if we sign Hefte still, that would give us 3 left backs as things stand, with Ridvan Yilmaz still at the club and also Borna Barisic at the club. Now, I know that Borna is likely to move on in the summer, so I suppose that is a situation where we could still run with having 3 left backs on the squad. And hopefully that would mean a complete end to Borna's career at the club. Realistically, yes, Borna has been a great servant. Yes, he did well during 55, but the last couple of seasons he has been truly dreadful. Times he's gone missing at Parkhead. Times he's cost us, he got mugged off by Dumbarton, for God's sake. He is massively past it. Now, Ridvan Yilmaz, apparently a bid from Galatasaray has been rejected by the club. Rangers are looking at, according to reports, for somewhere around the £5 million mark at this present moment in time for Ridvan Yilmaz. Now, look, I personally don't want to see Ridvan move on. I hope that Ridvan stays until the summer. 2 reasons why I hope Ridvan stays for the summer. If Hefte comes in, it's going to take time for him to adapt and move into Scottish football. Ridvan is now playing well. He is, I think, really been our defensive stalwart on the left-hand side, but not just that. He is making up for the lack of Sima. We're missing Sima down the left, his attacking ability, his direct attacking ability. The players that have come in so far, Matondo's lacked a finishing edge. Dujon Sterling's not a left winger. Ridvan has kind of really filled in for them and done a great job there. So for me, Ridvan needs to stay at least until the summer. I also think as well, if Ridvan gets a complete run of the team until the end of the season and plays as he is playing, scoring goals, playing, defending well, getting forward well, assisting, I honestly think Ridvan will be worth a whole lot more than the £5 million we are currently allegedly asking for him. I think you're looking, like I said on the video the other day, close to £10 million for me. He is, after all, an international. And at the end of the day, if you've got both Ridvan and Hefte competing for a place on the first team, you again are going to get a raise in standards. So for me, the club are right to reject that deal. I think we should definitely say now, until the end of the window, this guy is not for sale and he stays until at least the summer. Look, at the end, if he plays regularly for Rangers, he is not going to be at risk of losing his Turkish national team place for the Euros. That is something he obviously wants. He wants to play for his national team. He wants to go to the Euros, and playing regularly for Rangers will ensure that he does that. There is no risk there. So for me, it's a win-win situation. It's a win for the club. We maintain, and we have Ridvan there, who's not very good. And obviously a win for Ridvan, that he will still be in contention for the Turkish national team. So I certainly hope that Ridvan stays in place. Now, let's obviously turn to this league campaign that is upcoming and the cup as well. These are Rangers' February fixtures. Now, February is a shorter month, as we all know, but it is an intensive period for the club. Playing there, as you can see, 7 games in 28 days. Now, this is a massive period. If you take actually 25 days, if you take off obviously the fact the first game is the 3rd of February. So obviously we start on Saturday against Livy at home at Ibrox before travelling on the Tuesday night to Aberdeen, who no doubt would have laid down and died for Celtic on the Monday, on the Saturday, and been absolutely slaughtered by them. But then we'll turn up at Ibrox like prime Real Madrid crossed with Barcelona, with elements obviously twinkled in of Bayern Munich, no doubt. Because let's face it, as we know, Aberdeen cheat their fans. As Graham Roberts himself said, they only turn up for Rangers games. They only put their effort in for Rangers games. They really do let their fans down and cheat their fans. They really are a wee diddy club. And that's, look, you might think that's out of order, me saying that, but that's what Graham Roberts himself, Rangers legend Graham Roberts, was saying about Aberdeen. That will be a tough game because they'll be bang up for it. Like I said, they will be playing like prime Real Madrid crossed with Barcelona with a little bit of Bayern Munich sprinkled on top. Then on Saturday the 10th, we're back in cup action against Ayr United at home. No doubt I was giving Scott Brown a very warm welcome to Ibrox. On the 14th, we then play at home again. So, there's a lot of home games upcoming for the club. If you look at this February month, there's a lot of games at Ibrox, which gives us a chance to really keep this very good run that we're on going before the next Old Firm, which is in April. Ross County at home again. I know Ross County gave that lot from across the city a bit of a game the other day, and they were truly pathetic, and they were lucky to come out with a win. But I just feel that we have what we need to go and beat them before we travel away to St Johnstone on the 18th. Then the 24th, which is actually this channel's 1-year birthday, we'll be playing against Hearts at Ibrox before travelling to that awful plastic surface in Kilmarnock. That could be a tripping point. That, for me, is the tricky tie out of these 7 ties that we face in February. Now, I look at these ties that we face, and let's take the Ayr game out of it for the moment. We should obviously beat Ayr and progress to the next round of the Scottish Cup. If you take the 6 league games, Rangers need 18 points from those 6 games. We cannot afford to have anything less than 18 points in the bag when we go to face, when Motherwell come to Ibrox on the 2nd of March. You look at those games and look, yes, all those teams will raise their game for Rangers. All those teams will either play low block or will have a go at us. That is the way it will be. We know we are most teams' cup final. We know everybody hates us. We don't care. These are all going to be tough games. But I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at these 6 ties that are coming up in the league. Livy, Aberdeen, Ross County, St Johnstone, Hearts, and Killie. And they're games we need to be winning. We need to be getting back that machine-like winner that we had become. I think, like I said, out of those 6 ties, the one that worries me the most is going to Killie. Killie have got a really good record against the Old Firm this year, particularly at home, beating Celtic at home, beating us there as well. So, it is going to be a tricky tie. Derek McInnes is very tactically astute. You will have them up for that game. He will have them well organised. It will not be a walkover. But I'm hoping by that point, and hopefully by at least by the Aberdeen game, the likes of Diamande, Cortes, Hefte, and hopefully a striker will have arrived and we settled in and be good to go for the team, and our squad will be rebolstered. And I think with the management of Philippe Clement, we will be ready to go. But this is going to be a tough period, guys. It is going to be an intense period. It is a time to buckle in, strap in, and fight through it and get through it, like fighting through traffic on the morning on the way in to work. All those games will be brought to you live here on the channel on live streams. So come and join us for those live streams, guys. I love having you here for the live streams. Well, look, we are approaching the end of the transfer window. What do we still need? Well, we've got a winger. Let's rephrase that. We've hopefully got a winger. We've got an attacking midfield player or central midfield player. Could play in both positions. We've got a left back. We've got Fabio Silva, who can play as a striker, who can play as a 10, who can play as a winger. What do we still need in this transfer window? We still need a striker. We desperately need a striker. We need a reliable number 9 who will consistently get us goals. I saw a brilliant point from my friends at SM Media, which is obviously Scott McPike and the Rangers assessment, when they said, no matter what you think of Cyril Dessers, going into these last few fixtures in the rest of this season with only Cyril Dessers as a 9, is a massive, huge error, because at the end of the day, what if he gets injured? Whatever you think of Cyril Dessers, whether you think he's been unfairly treated, whether you think he has got a future at the club, whether you think he is very talented, and we're all being very harsh on him, or whether you think he's absolute pish, it doesn't matter. The situation is this: if we were to lose him with injury, you therefore have got no strikers. You're therefore hoping that Zach Lovelace comes back and can do a job for us, or Fabio Silva can fill in up there. And I don't think Silva is an out-and-out 9. So for me, there still is a strong need to go and get a striker. I've been realistic with you. I've been truthful with you. I've said what I've said in comments. I've tried to be as open with you. I don't think it's Lawrence Shankland. I do not. Honestly, 99% of me thinks that it will not be Lawrence Shankland. You cannot rule it out. Of course not. That you've got to have that 1% doubt that, possibly it could be Shankland come the 1st of February at 11:30. But realistically, I don't think the guy is on the club's radar. I think it's fan-driven. I think the media have picked up on the fan-driven element from it and are running with it to get clicks, to get views. I don't think Niels Coppen and Philly Clement are for a minute looking at Lawrence Shankland. I really don't. I think we will sign a striker, but I think it'll be someone we haven't even heard of yet, haven't even considered. I don't think it'll be Bojan Miovski, even though for me, he is obviously a very talented striker and someone who fits the trading model due to his age and the fact that he is a very talented player. But I don't think Aberdeen will do business with us. So who will it be? I honestly don't know. Alexander Lind is one that's been discussed, but it could be anybody. And Kevin Denke was mentioned. I think that's highly unrealistic. £10 million starting price. Again, I don't think that's obviously within our price budget. So this is a situation we're in. We do need a striker, but I think Coppen and Clement will be stretching the net far and wide, and we're making phone calls long into the night on the 1st of February to try and get that striker across the line if we haven't managed it by that point. Well, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. At time of recording, we are on 4,973 subscribers, just 27 subscribers away from hitting the magic 5K mark. So please hit that sub and help us get there. Thank you for watching. As always, on the way out, if you can do me 2 jobs, there will be an announcement to do with the channel tomorrow. Look out for that. 2 jobs. Number 1 job is to hit that like, guys. It helps the video and defeats the algorithm. And number 2, always remember, please never forget, we are the people.
Obviously people's lives, and it's like 2 o'clock and I'm like, fuck me, it's half 7 in the morning, man. Like, fuck me, that fucking flew in.